What's up, y'all? It is live from the Jets, man. What's going on? Hope everybody cool, everybody good. Everybody good on this evening, you know? Hell yeah, just live streaming. What's up, Tez? You good, baby? Hell yeah, yeah, you know my baby. Yeah, I made this title. Let me roll up this window so don't be so much noise for the audio, cause I don't know how the audio gonna come out. But yeah, this live from the Jets. I titled this "The Power of a Parent." You know, a lot of times it's like parents have a extremely important role, and parents have a lot to do with the outcome of a child. And it's like today people don't really understand that, or they don't take on that responsibility that comes with that. And that has a lot to do with what's going on, like what's going on in the world right now when it pertains to, like, I wouldn't even say like the children, because I would say the adults too, because this is something that's not new. A lot of these things and a lot of these talking points and narratives and problems that we all face, that's being, like, put on social media, is not new stuff. Like, a lot of this stuff been going on, like, just like the third generation of this type of behavior and this type of mindset. Me myself, I'm 45 years old. I'm almost 50 years old. I can remember, for the most part, growing up, I guess I was what you would consider, like, what, a good kid, or somewhat a good kid. Like, meaning that you know, I got good grades. I wasn't in trouble. You know, I was courteous to people. I had morals. As a kid. But a lot of this had to do with me having a father. You know, now hold on. Now I don't want people to, how people be like, bash the men, bash the fathers. But I know for a fact that I was a good kid and I was disciplined and I was walking the straight path. Not only, but a majority was because of my father. And I say that, and I know this because once my father got killed, I could see how, my life changed, for the worst part, not for the greater good. As I say, I was being groomed and tailored to be, you know, I guess like a young, good young man in the world, productive. But at the age of 16, my father got murdered, killed, murdered. Didn't die like from, a disease or nothing like that. Got gunned down, murdered, you know. Once that happened, for the first time in life, my mother had to get a job. My mother started, working. So the structure and the discipline and the rules and the regulations and everything that was built as a family unit was kind of like gone, for the simple fact of my father had just got killed. So I was dealing with, trauma. And as a kid, you use that trauma to your advantage. You taking advantage of the trauma. You taking advantage of the fact that, my dad just got killed. So, and as a kid, you feel like, oh, you could just do anything because you got an excuse why you're doing this, because your father got killed. But let me rewind a little back. Let me go back a little bit. When my father was alive, it was certain things that I knew I couldn't do. With certain things that I wouldn't do. I just knew I couldn't do because of the consequence of my father. And it really had nothing to do with like, pain or whooping or fear. Like, cause he never whooped me, not one time. Has he ever like whooped me or anything like that. But it was just, I guess, the thought of disappointing or making him mad in them days. A kid didn't want to do that. You know, you'd be over one of your friends' house and you hear them say stuff like, you be over your friend's house and you hear them say stuff like, or hear their mother say, "Oh, when your daddy get home, mama." Them words right there used to put so much fear in a child. If a child back in the days heard that, "Oh, wait till your daddy get home," that shit was like damn near saying like, you know, you about to, that just did something. Like, you feel me? My mother could yell at me all day, yell at me, hit me, all this, whatever. But if she was to say, "When your daddy get home," that just held some type of weight. So thank you for the like, Shard. Hey, I ain't see you say hi. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be looking at the camera. I'm sorry about that. Hey, Secret Wish, and hey, at Soans. But yeah, like just them words that when your father come home, that just make you, put a little bit of like straighten up to you. So like I say, it was stuff that I would have did, but I just knew I couldn't do, you know? So once he got, unalived, it was kind of like a freedom as a child. It was like a freedom. Like now I'm able to do what I want to do. Meanwhile, my mother going through the trauma and the depression that she's dealing with, losing her husband. Like, I never understood that as a kid. And sometimes I be wishing I could go back and do things different because I added on to the trauma of my mother when she was dealing with one of the hardest things ever. Like, I couldn't imagine, like, a woman that, like, in the times when I was in relationships and being with a woman, if that woman died or got killed, that's some hell of a shit to deal with. And she took that shit on the chin and dealt with that shit in depth. My mama, women be strong, man. That's some strong shit to do. That's like more than your kids. Like you just lose your husband or your wife. But back to what I'm saying, she was dealing with that, so I was adding on to it because now I start hanging with older guys. I start smoking weed, smoking cigarettes, Black and Miles, skipping school a little bit, shooting dice. Things I know I wouldn't dare been doing if my father was alive. At one point in time, even back in them days when I was young in the 90s, I had even tried to sit in crack houses, crack spots. Back then, they'd give a young guy, $30 off for every $100. But you been did $3, $4, $5,000. So as a young kid, you walking away, you got 5, 6, 700 as a kid. In one day you like. So now it's like I don't got nobody to, really like pull me away from that. My mother, she forced to have a job now. She working now. So she gone, you know. My father had life insurance, 401k, all that little stuff even back in the day. So when he died, we had got like a lump sum of money. But my mother, she still would work. But us as kids, we were spoiled and just gave money to try to compensate from the pain and the feelings and the trauma that we was feeling from losing our father. We lost our father. We went 16. I was 16, so my sister was 15. We went 15 years with our daddy, seeing him every single fucking day. And now he's gone. And we saw him going, saw him, unalive, shot down, gunned down. Like a man came, gunned him down, because he was talking to a man's wife. And that's a lesson, like I say, the power of a parent. That's a lesson it taught me. I never talked to a man's wife. I never talked to, like, I know this man girlfriend, he love her. He'll kill you over her. I didn't see it. I saw what they did to my daddy. over a woman. So that's the power of a parent. Lesson, he taught me that. But like I'm saying, once he was gone, we was compensated with money and freedom to kind of like make us forget about what just happened. And that's one thing us as people, and when I say us as people, I just say everybody. I'll be want to say us as black people, but I just want to say us as people in general, because I know white people, I know Hispanic people, I know Latino people, I know people who and go through the same stuff as me, a black man. So one thing that we do, us as a people, is we don't go get like counseling, or we don't go get like therapy, or we feel like we can't, even stuff like this. You know, this live from the Jets. I'm in the King Homes in the projects. Even stuff like this, people feel like we just been tailored not to do this, not to talk about how we feel, you know? So as kids, like, I think we should have had some type of counseling, some type of therapy, but we don't do that as a people. We look at that stuff as like, non-beneficial. But certain shit you can't just live through, you know? So now I'm running the streets, now I'm hanging with these older guys, now I'm getting 500, 600, 700 a day. On top, I had already got hit with thousands as a kid. You know, if I was a kid, got hit with racks. I can't remember exactly because I was a kid, but I had a bank account, all that racks in it, over 50 racks in it. And I'm in the streets getting racks now because my father ain't around. My mother is at work. I'm feeling like I'm grown. But let me fast forward because, I just wanted to rewind back to that, but right now, us as parents, we got a hell of a responsibility. We got hell of a duties. Our kids look up to us. Our kids look at us as superheroes, you know, mothers and fathers. But it's like nobody wants to parent no more. Like nobody want to be a parent. We just want to be like damn near babysitters. Like, this even mothers. I see so many mothers. I'm not gonna be jive, I'm not with the man versus woman narrative and all that type stuff. A lot of this stuff be going on forever. I'm not with that trying to start that. I love black women. Black women love me. Black women got problems, niggas got problems. This how this shit been like this, but I hate when I do that because sometimes my mind be moving a little quicker than I would like to catch up because I be passionate about stuff I talk about, like, but parents hold power, and it's like we give that power away. We give it away to like the media, we give it away to like the schools, we give it away to like, outside influences. And we be wondering why everything is like how it is, like, and that be the reason, and a lot of it be because it's not a father around. A mother's supposed to nurture you. A mother's supposed to love you, hug you. You hurt yourself, do this, cook for you, make sure you good. Make just love you. A mother is out of her character whenever she is even trying to be aggressive, even trying to be like yelling at a kid or whooping a kid. She's out of her nature. That's why it's ineffective. Kids' minds don't process like that. Kids, father, dominance. A lot of times I remember I was a kid, like my mama used to whip, man, I used to always get whipped by my mama. But my father never whipped me. All he had to do was like say something or talk, and I was automatically in line. But I don't want to get off topic, y'all. I just really was just sitting back thinking, cause this live from the Jets. I'm in the projects downtown in my hood, the King Homes. A lot of stuff you see pertaining to the kids just make you like you just want people to do better. You know what I'm saying? You just want people to do better for the kids because the kids is the future. Like, and it's been like that. I was the future. You know what I'm saying? And I was around here doing the stuff I was doing because I didn't have the proper parental guidance watching over me. The streets was my parents, you know? Drug dealers was my parents. Killers was my parents. Robbers was my parents. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate anybody who watched this live, anybody who took the time out their day just to, tap in. Special shouts out to @SecretWish, HAJ. Special shouts out to Tarina Sampson. Special shouts out to @Soans, @SOANSS. I appreciate y'all. Y'all gonna start seeing more of me. I just work and I just be doing a lot of shit, but I'm finna start just, coming building with y'all. So yeah, I'll catch y'all on the next one. Live from the Jets, trust me.